Welcome back to the Broadbeach Bowls Club on the Gold Coast of Australia, our third and final match of the day and final match of these multi-nations at the Broadbeach Bowls Club. And it is another final for New Zealand. The New Zealand women's pairs of Taylor Bruce and Joa Edwards up against Australia green combination of Ellen Ryan and Karen Murphy, trying to add a second gold for New Zealand. If you haven't caught up with the news earlier, it was the New Zealand men's triple of Ellie Forsyth, the skip Andrew Kelly, and Chris Lalive, who took out gold in the men's triples final against Australia green. 16-12 it finished. New Zealand men's pair of Gary Lawson and Jamie Hill having to settle for the silver medal in the men's pairs, going down 17-12 to Canada, and the New Zealand women's triple of Caitlin Inch, Val Smith and Selena Goddard beating South Africa 16-11 in the third-fourth playoff to claim New Zealand's second bronze of these multi-nations championships. And now, alongside myself, Brenton Vanessa-Roy, is Kevin Hicklin, as we are straight into the action, already playing the first end of this women's pairs final. For a good afternoon, Kevin.
Yes, good afternoon, Brenton, and we were certainly treated, weren't we, to a fantastic game of the men's triples final. And as we go to this pairs final, great start here from Taylor Bruce, sitting right on the jack. And what a great final we've got here. Joe Edwards and Karen Murphy, two of the legends without doubt of the sport of lawn bowls. And of course, Karen Murphy playing what will be her last international match for Australia, and it's only right and fitting that it be against New Zealand, as we see Ellen Ryan move the jack, and certainly Murphy 650 plus games for Australia, and Joe Edwards 628.
So combine them, almost 1,300 games between these two absolute legends of Trans-Tasman bowls. That is not an exaggeration. The most capped player in New Zealand history, Joe Edwards, and I'm pretty sure the most capped player in Australia's history, Karen Murphy.
Certainly is. Karen Murphy, of course, is well part of the Australian Commonwealth Games Committee as well, OAM. She's done everything, has Karen Murphy, and bowing out, although she will play next week in the sort of, what we call it, carnival, rest of the world play Australia at Moama, but this is her last international event that will see her on the greens, in the green and gold of Australia.
Yeah, what a legend she has been for Australia. Taylor Bruce getting New Zealand off to a good start with a toucher. That work was undone by Ellen Ryan, the lead for Australia, who earlier won the women's singles title at this multi-nations tournament on the Gold Coast. So Ellen Ryan's bowl still holding the shot.
And we're certainly treated, Brennan, to a fantastic men's triple final, weren't we? The Australia-New Zealand game, where we saw the New Zealand side, Ellie Forsyth, Andrew Kelly and Chris Lalive defeat the Australian side of Aaron Tees, Corey Wedlock and Barry Lester. And in fact, the New Zealand victory saw Australia of the 18 ends only actually score on 6 ends, and they scored a 4 and a 3, and all the rest were just little numbers. So a very good confidence-boosting win and gold medal for the new New Zealand combination playing together for the first time. And as you rightly said, went through unbeaten, as have Taylor Bruce and Joe Edwards. So a great, and it was a really good game to watch, that triples game, and full marks to our New Zealand combination. They certainly put it together today, Brenton.
Oh, undoubtedly. A very fine performance. And you mentioned bounce back, because that's what it was. Chris Lalive and Ellie Forsyth, both members of that four. So disappointing in round robin. Currently playing now behind us in the 5th, 6th playoff, well below expectations that the men's four, but to claim gold.
But a luck here for Joe Edwards. Bit of luck for Joe Edwards here. Ran off a short bowl, touched the jack, moved it back slightly.
Yeah, not the luck she had in the singles,
no,
but maybe it's getting it in the pairs.
More than likely laying 2 shots on this first end of 18. And we hope that Alan Ryan learns to, that's it, Alan, move away from that camera angle. It's most appreciative, Alan. So we'll now no doubt see Karen Murphy. She'll come down with weight, trying to play up to that, what is the now New Zealand shot bowl. And earlier on, of course, we saw Gary Lawson and Jamie Hill pick up silver in the pairs as we watch Karen Murphy on the drive, trying to get down to this New Zealand shot bowl. And goes by, and Taylor Bruce signals just the one.
So a good start for New Zealand, rather fortuitous though in the way that they grab the shot, but they'll take it. 1-0 they lead Australia green after the first of 18 ends in this women's pairs final. Jo Edwards trying to claim a medal in the pairs after coming up empty in the singles, rather surprisingly upset in the semi-finals and then unable to deliver to her quite high standards in the bronze medal match against Christina Christic of Australia Yellow.
And Christina Christic, that game earlier on this morning, our first game that we covered today, played very, very well in that match this morning against Jo Edwards, and certainly was really a convincing winner as it turned out in that final.
21-14, the final score of that. Also let you know, behind us, Kevin, on green number 3, Sheldon Bagri-Howley is making his Blackjacks debut.
Yeah,
Plays for the Gore Rams in, of course, Bowls 3-5. And now playing for the Blackjacks for the first time. It may just be a 5th, 6th playoff, but he'll certainly take it. New Zealand against Ireland for 5th and 6th in the men's fours. So Ellie Forsyth revealed to us after their gold medal win in the men's triples that he'll be sitting out the classification match in the men's fours. He's had a dodgy back.
He has.
Trying to rest up, of course. 3 Trans-Tasman tests to come over the next 3 days. So congratulations, Sheldon Bagri-Howley. Now a Blackjack officially. Of course, he's here on the Gold Coast as a member of the New Zealand development team, which will be playing over the next 3 days in the Trans-Tasman also.
So as you watch Taylor Bruce play her second bowl on the second end of 18, and this looks to be on a better line to the jack and runs alongside, sits pretty handy to the jack. Ellen Ryan on her backhand, and as Brendan rightly said, over 1,300 caps between Jo Edwards and Karen Murphy. Absolute amazing tribute, these two players, as we watch Ellen Ryan draw the shot right behind the jack onto the centre line.
Well, looking forward to this matchup, firstly, of the leads. Taylor Bruce for New Zealand and Ellen Ryan for Australia. We saw yesterday, didn't we, Kevin, that Taylor Bruce was pretty consistent, especially to start with, in the first 8 or 9 ends of that semi-final against Wales, and really set it up for Jo Edwards. But Ellen Ryan is a great draw player herself.
And we, as in your interview, of course, with them last night, it's the Pearce side just a wee bit concerned about those mid-ends from about end 8 to 13, where they've sort of struggled a wee bit off the front. And there won't be room to do that against this combination. You'll certainly have to be on your mettle right throughout the whole 18 ends, because no doubt that Karen Murphy will want to go out with a gold medal around her neck, I would say. She'll be desperately wanting to win this. In fact, her husband Paul woke up at 3 o'clock this morning at their house in Shell Harbour. At 4 o'clock, booked a plane flight from Sydney down to Coolangatta. Arrived here, watched his wife play in 2 finals today, and he's on a flight back to Sydney at 8 o'clock tonight and back to work tomorrow. So he's here to watch his wife play what will be her last game for Australia.
Yeah, fantastic. And why not make that commitment? He's not going to have to, we're not going to get the opportunity to do it again. Of course, there still is the carnival type game, Australia to play the rest of the world, which Karen Murphy will be a part of, which will, I suppose, be her official swan song. But as far as a real top-level test match, this is the last of them for her. We won't see her in the Trans-Tasman over the next 3 days as Karen Murphy gets a front toucher there that just slides past the head. Australia still holding the shot. That bowl from Ellen Ryan just behind the jack. We can't actually see the jack because of the Ellen Ryan bowl. Now Taylor Bruce trying to call the shots to Joe Edwards.
Well, I think Joe Edwards playing down on the forehand. She'll be trying to get under her bowl. She just sneaks under her bowl. Edwards can possibly get to the shot bowl. Breaking down towards the head now. And Taylor Bruce right in the bowl. But you can see just ducks away. So Karen Murphy, of course, if she turns that middle bowl of New Zealand over, you make 3 shots of this, Brendan.
Yeah, that's what she'll be aiming to do. Of course, Joe Edwards still has a bowl to play, but she'll be looking to put the pressure on the veteran New Zealand skip. This one's hung out wide, hasn't quite come back to where she wanted it to be.
So, of course, Joe Edwards playing on this hand, of course, eliminates getting rid of her own bowl. So the danger is if she played the other hand and tip her own bowl out, Joe Edwards could go 3 down. Definitely 1 only to Australia. As we watch Joe Edwards just run into the Australian bowl, and whether that made any difference or not.
Yeah, I think that still favour that Taylor Bruce bowl, that purple bowl, just to the left of where the jack is. And the jack is obstructed just on the centre line by that Ellen Ryan yellow bowl.
5 shots could be made of this, actually, Brenton, if Karen Murphy gets onto that middle Taylor Bruce mauve coloured bowl sitting in there. Would be the nearest New Zealand bowl.
You're going with mauve rather than purple?
Well,
you're a more cultured man than me, of course.
We'll call it purpley coloured, mauve coloured bowl. So here's Karen Murphy. Ellen Ryan indicating it wanted to come back, and it's going to come back perhaps on the narrow side. Not going to get to that bowl. In fact, that's cool, very fortunate.
Yeah, only one, just as it was, but yeah, that could have gone anywhere, really.
And it was also fortunate for Australia as well, because Karen Murphy, in fact, was narrow with that bowl and sliced the jack, and New Zealand had bowls in on that side of the head, and there's simply 1 Australian bowl back there. So she played with weight, did Murphy, to dislodge that bowl, and just sliced it, so to speak. So
2-1 it is now after 2 of 18 ends in this women's pairs final. The last medal game for New Zealand at these multi-nations. So far they have a gold in the men's triple, a silver in the men's pair, and 2 bronze medals in the women's triple, and also in the women's 4.
And possibly the as far as the men are concerned, the gold medal, one would have thought at the start, was more likely to be in the 4s department rather than in the triples department.
Or with Ellie Forsyth and Gary Lawson in that 4. Yeah, certainly high expectations.
So here we have now Taylor Bruce playing her first bowl on the 3rd end. That's 3 of 18, and the Australians have shortened that up. But Brenton, you can see that it's been a shorter end they're playing now.
Yeah, well, they won't mind that from what we saw yesterday, was it?
No, they won't.
Joe Edwards and Taylor Bruce. They
Absolutely
quite enjoyed the shorter ends. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out with Australia now with the jack and the mat deciding to play a short length, just pretty much just over the regulation or the minimal 22 metres.
So here we have now Taylor Bruce 2 down. Joe Edwards keen on this bowl as that breaks towards the head. This looks a good bowl as it breaks towards the jack. Going to sit on the second shot bowl, Karen Murphy indicating the front bowl of Ellen Ryan's is still the shot. So here is now Ellen Ryan with her third bowl on the third end of 18. My goodness, Brendan, during that triples game as well, it certainly got very warm in here.
Yeah, it certainly did. As the temperature of the match, the heat went on, so did the temperature, not just in our tent, but in the Broadbeach Bowls Club as well on the rink.
Fantastic game of triples that we saw. And Crystal Eve on debut. A gold medal in the men's triples on debut. And another gold medal in one of these events for Andrew Kelly. Of course, they are all doing their utmost to endeavour to get their name in the hat for when that World Bowls team is announced in a few months' time. And good results here and at the Trans-Tasman would certainly help that cause.
Yeah, that's what this event's really about. It's a selection trial, really, for both New Zealand and Australia, looking ahead to World Bowls in May, June next year.
So, on the mat, Karen Murphy, the Australian skip, is it breaking down towards the head? Just look if it's going to go past by a fraction. Just a wee bit overweighted. Of course, Murphy has won back-to-back world singles, and that she won't be here next year for the possible three-peat, but in 2012 and 2016. And then, of course, in 2008 in Christchurch, it was Val Smith that won the singles, and Joe Edwards and Val Smith won the women's pairs final in 2008. But back-to-back singles, great effort by Karen Murphy. So we've certainly got the best in action here in this final this afternoon, Brenton.
Oh, no doubt about that. Absolute icons of the game of bowls.
Murphy just trying to get to the jack, just ran a couple of bowls short on that line to the counting area. And it was indicated by Karen Murphy that it is Australia that are holding the one shot. So Joe Edwards playing down on her forehand, just trying to get past this front bowl of Karen Murphy's and get to the shot. We know the big draw in the Edwards bowls. They certainly, she had that right green, just lacked a fraction of weight. Ellen Ryan looking to see if Karen Murphy, changing to the backhand, see if she can get a touch on that New Zealand bowl behind the head, a second shot bowl. Trying to play it out of the head, and that won't do anything. That bowl at Murphy's. So Joe Edwards now changing hands to her backhand. It's a bit, the forehand side now is blocked up. Walks off to the mat to the side, the traditional habit that Joe Edwards does.
And turns her back on it now, so she knows it's not going to be in the area. So I believe that's just one to Australia, as it's Ellen Ryan who's picked up the jack. So she will control the length, and she will have the mat and decide what they want for this fourth end, as we should be all tied up at 2 apiece between Australia green, Ellen Ryan and Karen Murphy up against New Zealand, Taylor Bruce, Joe Edwards. After 3 of the 18 ends. Gone by pretty quickly. This match progressing at a good pace. Of course, got underway a bit earlier than we were expecting. It was scheduled to start at 3 p.m. local time, 6 p.m. New Zealand time, and we got underway a good 10, 15 minutes early.
Which is fine.
Well, we get earlier finish.
Yes, we do, Brent. It's been long days. Of course, we start again tomorrow. And we'll be bringing you all the live action from the Trans-Tasman tomorrow at Helensvale as we watch this first bolt. Alan Ryan just sit alongside the jack. Another good start by the young Australian player. As we'll see now, Taylor Bruce on her backhand. Very, very steady player is Alan Ryan. Joe Edwards applauding this bowl of Taylor Bruce's as it moves in behind the head, virtually to the centre line.
And she's a great example for young players, Taylor Bruce, isn't it? To follow your bowl all the way down. She stands on the mat, she holds her pose, and you see her watch it all the way down until it's finished, and then she steps off the mat.
She watches that arc and that finish of the bowl all the way to the end. And see Alan Ryan coming back to that centre line as well. The meet up behind as the Burnside player, Taylor Bruce.
There you go, that deliberate style. Now she just stares at it, holds her pose, watching the bowl all the way back to the centre line. And this one's going to just slide by her. It's faint touch.
Didn't get a touch on the jack on the way through.
Joe Edwards with the spray. So if that one ends up in the ditch, it will be a counter. That's why the spray, to differentiate it from the other Taylor Bruce bowls. Alan Ryan trying to come on a similar track here, and this one's not far away either. Well, two pretty handy bowls from firstly Taylor Bruce and then Alan Ryan. Alan Ryan just misses out on the jack that time. Taylor Bruce will just try and sit right on that Alan Ryan bowl if she can.
5 bowls, literally, a metre. But Taylor Bruce is going to spoil the party here because he's going to come up short and a change ends. And it will be Australia holding one shot on end number 4 of 18. So tomorrow we'll be at Helensvale for the Trans-Tasman. We'll be giving you 3 rounds of the first day of the Trans-Tasman. Then the next day we'll be at Musgrove Hills. And again, we'll 3 further rounds at the Musgrove Hills. And then back here at Broadbeach, and a further 3 rounds. And of course, not only do we have the New Zealand and Australia high performance sides, we've also got the New Zealand development side, and the New Zealand and Australia over 60 side will do battle as well. So a lot of action over the next few days between New Zealand and Australia.
Yeah, we'll bring it all to you. So in total, we'll bring another 9 matches over the next 3 days. Of course, each day a test match in the Trans-Tasman. Something that the New Zealand men have not won for quite some time. We think at least a decade. No,
it would be. I'm sure it would be a decade since New Zealand have had the W next to their name. We've won the. We have won the women, and we have. But not the men. Certainly haven't been able to capture that. So that win this afternoon by the men's triples will give them a lot of confidence going into that game tomorrow as we watch this bowl of Karen Murphy's pull up just under the head. And 2 down was the signal there from Taylor Bruce.
Yeah, and Gary Lawson and Jamie Hill, while they didn't win the men's pair, they finished above both the Australian partnerships because they lost to Canada and Ryan Bester in the final. So they can take something from that as well. Obviously, the fours and singles haven't gone the way New Zealand would have liked. 6th place for Andrew Kelly in the men's singles, and currently have the men's fours behind us playing in their 5th, 6th playoff. And I can tell you it's 3-all after 3 ends of that 5th, 6th playoff between New Zealand men's 4 and Ireland. It's New Zealand men's 4, which has Sheldon Bagri-Howley playing at 3 instead of Ali Forsyth, who's resting because of a tight back.
Well, the good thing was he looked in fine fettle in that final of the triples. Now, I just wonder here whether Joe Edwards is going to have a chance of playing a shot here. And just coming to have a look There's a 3-bowl chance on here, Brenton, to play down, get either the front bowl, roll it over, or gets under and gets to the bowl of Taylor Bruce's. You'll see them looking at those bowls now, which would run straight onto the Australian bowl and push it out of the head. Or if Joe Edwards plays the other hand as well and runs onto the bowl, that Australian bowl, it's only got to move about 12 inches, and that would leave New Zealand looking at more than likely 3 shots if Joe Edwards can move that bowl back out of the head. 1 down on the head at present, but there is a chance for a number.
And Joe Edwards has shown during her long and illustrious career she can pull off these shots.
Here's Edwards now on the forehand, playing
with weight.
Looks to be on the thick side, on the wide side.
Yeah, she doesn't like it. She looked off to her side, but almost could have turned out special. She actually did hit the bowl she was trying to get rid of, but all she did was promote it. So 1 to Australia green after 4 ends of 18 now in this women's pairs final. It's Australia green who lead 3-2 over New Zealand. Of course, this is the second Australia green New Zealand final of these multi-nations. Earlier today, this afternoon, it was the New Zealand men's triple of Ellie Forsyth, Andrew Kelly and Crystal Leave, who took down Aaron Tees, Corey Wedlock and Barry Lester 16-12 to claim gold. New Zealand's first and so far only gold of these multi-nations to go with a silver and a couple of bronze. It'll be either a gold or silver here in this women's pairs final. Find out over the next hour or so what colour it will be for Taylor Bruce and Joe Edwards. As that's a good opening bowl from Alan Ryan. Another short end being played.
The green held that speed right throughout the day, around that 18-second mark, which is, it's a good speed to play on, and that's about the speed, of course. Might be slightly slow, about 16 tomorrow at Helensvale. A good opening bowl here from Taylor Bruce as well, as that sits just inside the centre line, about a foot away from the jack. So Ellen Ryan, very fun-loving girl is Ellen Ryan, humorous young lady. A real country girl.
Yeah, and a real talent as well.
Sure is.
It's not like Australia are lacking for ears to Karen Murphy's throne. A number of very good young players. We saw one of them, Christina Christic, earlier. Ellen Ryan, who's even younger.
So as we watch the Taylor Bruce bowl, breaking down towards the head. Joe Edwards pretty keen on this one, drawing straight to the jack. Unfortunate, got a toucher. Just ran into the Australian bowl, but unfortunate there because it was actually a very good bowl from Taylor Bruce. Went to the Australian bowl.
See some of the South Africans watching on from the women's triple, who went down to New Zealand earlier, 16-11 as a come-from-behind win for the New Zealand women's triple. And that trio of Inch, Smith and Goddard, their second bronze of the day after they earlier claimed bronze in the New Zealand women's 4, along with this lady here, Taylor Bruce, who's already got a medal, but she wants a gold here.
Certainly does. That's the big name of the game, trying to get that gold medal as we watch this bowl. Changing hands, trying to get down to the jack, and very close is Taylor Bruce to getting a touch on the jack, and she's unlucky again. Just the jack goes back to the other Ellen Ryan bowl. Played it well, did Taylor Bruce, 2 touches, and still 1 down.
Yeah, it was great effort from Taylor Bruce. Very unfortunate that both times she's touched the jack, she's trailed it back to an Australian bowl from one side of the centre line to the other. Now Ellen Ryan just pointing out the weight she wants Karen Murphy to try and play to her foot. Giving Murphy a guide.
That breeze that you spoke about, Brenton, that afternoon breeze, just starting to get up. You can feel it here behind us as Karen Murphy draws a toucher as well. And they'll lay two, the Australians, but Joe Edwards can play up with confidence to those two counting bowls.
Yeah, that breeze is needed. It's been a stifling hot afternoon here at the Broadbeach Bowls Club. And these are the days when we enjoy the fact they don't have daylight saving, because
the
it's
great
get
attempt
a bit cooler.
here. Great attempt by Joe Edwards. Just fell out. All but got the shot. Still 1 to Australia.
Now Ellen Ryan is going to the front of the head to see exactly what Karen Murphy will be looking at, what her options could be.
Indicating to Ellen Ryan, indicating to Karen Murphy, you can still draw in there between the Joe Edwards bowl.
Yeah, big long conversation here, so just making sure that Karen Murphy heard right from Ellen Ryan. So she'll try and play in between the purple bowl, which is almost in line with the jack, and the black one that Joe Edwards just played. It's on a decent track here. Might just come under the line.
Just fell under the line by one bowl, one more roll, and it would have been perfectly inside there. Now we'll see Joe Edwards try and play down again as she did with her first bowl. It's on its way as the Joe Edwards bowl. We'll see Karen Murphy will move in a moment. Taylor Bruce trying to persuade the bowl to come back. Played with that weight, but just didn't pull back to get contact onto the Australian shot bowl. You can see what Joe Edwards was trying to do was to play up to the purple bowl, which would then in turn that yellow Australian bowl out of the head. Gold, yellow, the green and gold of Australia. I noticed not all the men played with the green and gold.
No, it's quite handy though that
It
both
is.
Karen Murphy and Ellen Ryan are. It makes it very easy to tell the difference between the New Zealand bowls and the Australian bowls, that's for sure. New Zealand playing with two different colours as well. We've got the purple bowls of Taylor Bruce and the charcoal bowls of Joe Edwards. I think I heard her saying earlier in the tournament she's been playing with these for about 5-6 years, and she's had a fair amount of success over that 5-6 years.
Certainly
Two
has.
Commonwealth Games golds.
A lot of success. I think she's had success with all the bowls that she uses, actually, right from her early days in Nelson. So here's Joe Edwards now on the mat, trailing 3-2 as we come to the end of the 50 end. And Joe Edwards will again try and play down with reaching weight to her own bowl to turn the Australian bowl out of the head. It's on its way. Looking closely because the Edwards bowl is a big arc at the finish.
It's going to come under the line as well, unfortunately, and run into those two short ones alongside each other. Ellen Ryan says one more for Australia green. So 4-2 it is now after 5 of the 18 ends in this women's pairs final. Pretty tight start to this.
Well, it's one of those games where we've got players like Joe Edwards and Karen Murphy as the skips, and very competent leads as well in Ellen Ryan and Taylor Bruce. You wouldn't think it's going to be a game for big numbers because all four have got very, very good drawing ability. And let's just hope that the little concern that the New Zealand coaches have of that we'll call the mid-game wobbles is not with them today.
Yeah, it has been a bit of a concern in 7-12, the middle third.
We hope you're enjoying this coverage that we're bringing to you back in New Zealand. Certainly our pleasure for Brenton and myself to bring this live action into your household or wherever you may be. Our pleasure to bring this high quality coverage, and of course thanks to Robbie, Ben and Alex who put all this together, and it's great to hear all the compliments around the greens of the very, very professional studio-like environment that we've got here to work in, Brenton. And so Robbie, Ben and Alex do a fantastic job, and of course Erin back in New Zealand, making sure that we can bring this great viewing into your household.
So now playing the 6th end, and Alan Ryan making the slightly better start, but Taylor Bruce's first was right on the centre line. Yes, a metre or so past the jack, but not far away.
It's interesting. I was talking to the New Zealand triples players earlier on. It's just cooled down a wee bit now, but you'll notice as the bowls are coming down, there's a whitish patch in the middle of the green up there. You can see that patch up through there. Well, it's really quick through there. And it's very, very slippery. And they were saying that it's so important as well as Alan Ryan runs into her own bowl and knocks it out. And that's where it's important. Crystal Eve was saying that the length of the jack is so important so that you're playing through these very, very quick areas.
Yeah, and for those who didn't get to see the thrilling men's triples final, New Zealand were favouring the shorter end, so they had the jack all the way up the top of the centre line.
May still be one to Australia, actually, if you look at, but I don't think so on that. But just the way how the monitor flicked around then, or the camera flicked around to that view, I think it's New Zealand holding the shot as Karen Murphy makes her way back to the mat. And plenty of room for the players of Murphy and Edwards calibre to get in here as Alan Ryan coaxing on the bowl of Karen Murphy's, which will certainly be shot.
Yeah, I think perhaps 2, judging by that angle anyway. We'll see again when we're right behind there. Well, that would certainly suggest 1. So angles can be very deceiving.
So one angle definitely looks like 2, and the other angle it looks like 1. So here we have now Joe Edwards just going to go past on the high side and trailing 4-2 and down 1 at least on the head, and we'll look at that second one later.
Yeah, I certainly think it is just the one that Taylor Bruce bowl, while it is quite far beyond the jack, still on that centre line, so I'd favour that over the wide Australian bowl. This may change the count though.
So that bowl that Karen Murphy ran into and sat jack level, that would definitely count as well. So that would be 2 shots.
An important couple of bowls these now for Joe Edwards in New Zealand. They don't want to lose touch with Australia green after the opening third.
Looks to be on a line, but it's going to just nip under the head, and it does. And Alan Ryan indicating it may just have the 1, and now saying that no, they got 2 shots. Alan Ryan indicating to come to the back in case Joe Edwards managed to drag the jack through the hole there where there's all New Zealand bowls. So Karen Murphy getting down into that cover area if the bowls of the jack moves out that way.
That's pretty good effort. Pretty good effort for a covering bowl, as you can see. The reason for that, because New Zealand's holding the back bowls. Yeah, the Taylor Bruce purples and the Joe Edwards black. Now, playing her lasts is the 2-time defending Commonwealth Games gold medalist in the women's singles. Here trying to skip her women's pair out of bit of trouble. Can
Good
she
ball
grab
here.
the shot for New
Great ball
Zealand?
here from
Yes, she
Edwards.
can. What a ball that is from Edwards. Tip of the cap from Taylor Bruce to her skip. Down at least one, I think two, and she draws the shot. And New Zealand now have their third. And after 6 of the 18 ends, a third of the way through, it's Australia green 4, New Zealand 3.
Well, it was only a few centimetres there, Brenton, to draw onto the Karen Murphy bowl. And Jo Edwards showing her true international class up to the equal to the task there. And good to see today here, a number of you viewers back there in New Zealand. Paul Girdler, the former New Zealand player and, of course, world champion. Here today, because lives over here on the Gold Coast, and here catching up with all of his former New Zealand players that he played with.
Yeah, very decorated player for New Zealand, Paul Girdler. And there's really a who's who of bowls here. I mentioned all the development players who have made their way to Broadbeach Bowls Club, the over 60s players as well, ahead of their respective Trans-Tasmans.
And we also had the company here today as well, of David Goulet of Scotland, 3 times world champion. And of course David Goulet, who's here with the Scottish development side, and a legend like Alex Marshall and Paul Foster out of Scotland. And so he was here today, another one of the greats of out of the UK. We watch now Taylor Bruce with New Zealand with the mat after that great draw shot last bowl by Jo Edwards, and Australia leading 4-3 as we play the 7th end. And Taylor Bruce, he said too much weight with that bowl, certainly walked away from it. So now we see Ellen Ryan with her second bowl on the 7th end.
I apologise for some of our picture difficulties. Endeavour to get them resolved, as that's a great bowl from Ellen Ryan. Not quite a toucher, but as good as a front toucher. As Jo Edwards putting her foot where the jack is to give Taylor Bruce a guide. She won't be able to see the jack behind that Ellen Ryan bowl. Trying to get one to the centre line. Been under with both of her first efforts, and it looks like she's going to finish under with her third as well. So a good grouping, but not a grouping where she wanted to be.
And this is where the pressure goes on the skip. Every chance that Jo Edwards could be, possibly, but not going to be, I don't think. 3 down when they change over. And Karen Murphy encouraging to get the bowl of Ellen Ryan's back matching those New Zealand bowls, because it's a difficult head for Jo Edwards to play to. There's no bowls to come off. You've got to get it dead right with that bowl of Australia's sitting right on the jack, sitting right in front of the jack in a straight line to the jack. The Ellen Ryan shot bowl. Had a great crowd in here this afternoon for that, when that men's triples final was on. Still a good crowd here, but certainly this afternoon we were treated to the Ali Forsyth game. A great game of men's triples. We watched Jo Edwards bowl. Is it going to get, just fell short of that jack? Was on a good track to it.
Yeah, good effort. Not quite the weight, just a foot more, and that would have been absolutely perfect for Jo Edwards. Been treated to a pretty good contest here as well. Still, of course, in the early stages after just 6 of the 18 ends. Just one shot between these two champion skips. Jo Edwards of New Zealand and Karen Murphy of Australia. It wasn't far away with her first either.
The shot for Jo Edwards to play is just, that's the on there with this bowl to try and get close, and then there's a chance to play up under the head if Jo Edwards can get another one close to that Ellen Ryan bowl. Doesn't want to risk losing her bowl out of the head with any attack of weight. So here is Jo Edwards on a forehand, trying to get a second shot at least, breaking towards the head now. Taylor Bruce just likes that bowl. Oh, well, now.
It's a great effort.
Great effort. 1 to Australia, as Ellen Ryan indicates. But there's a chance now for Jo Edwards to attack that head more.
Unless Karen Murphy can plug the gap.
I'm sure. If not, we'll see Jo Edwards attack it.
Asking a lot of this one to come back, hanging it out wide, and here it comes. Going to run into one of the other Australian bowls and move it a bit closer.
Turned it over. I'm not sure if it made a difference or not.
Yeah, that's the advantage that Murphy had, playing into her own bowls, trying to move them, promote them towards the jack if she didn't manage to get a clear line herself.
It's a very hard shot. Jo Edwards endeavouring to play, trying to get to that jack.
False start.
Someone just moved past in front.
Yeah, I think we
now
had
got a bowl.
Aaron Sheriff playing a drive on the rink just next door. They skip of the Australian men's 4, the yellow. It's yellow against green.
So here's now Jo Edwards' bowl on the 7th end, trying to get down to the counting bowl of Ellen Ryan, and good attempt, but not to be.
Now they'll confirm if it is 1 or 2. Yeah, 1 tentatively, Ellen Ryan says. Is she going to be convinced about another? Of course, Karen Murphy still has a bowl to play.
Just the one is again was that indication then from Ellen Ryan to Karen Murphy. So Murphy on her forehand will just try and draw up to the counting area. It's on its way, the Karen Murphy bowl. Ellen Ryan trying to encourage it into the head. And they're going to measure for what would be, I think, the second one.
Yeah, Ellen Ryan doing the job. I think, was that 1 signalled there? Certainly think so for Australia green.
See in a moment when Jo Edwards changes that.
Yeah, that board you just see to the right of screen. That is the board for this women's pairs final. And Taylor Bruce will go over and change it to 7 ends and confirm. In fact, it's a 2.
Was it 2?
So Australia green now out to a 3-shot advantage in this women's pairs final here at the Multi-Nations on the Gold Coast of Australia, specifically the Broadbeach Bowls Club, where we have been the last couple of days. We'll be back here on Wednesday for the 3rd and final Trans-Tasman test. But the first test will be at Club Helensvale. But further up the road.
6-3. 6-3 to Australia after 7 of 18 ends. And a good crowd in around here at Broadbeach. And goes in behind us, we have the New Zealand men's 4 up against Ireland, with Sheldon Bagley-Howley making his debut, with Ali Forsyth spelling out.
Yep, resting his back. Obviously, with 3 big days to come at the Trans-Tasman. He's resting himself for this. Still watching, though, proceedings. Gary Lawson has actually decided to pick a spot alongside Ali Forsyth, just on the side of the rink, to chew the fat. Maybe get a bit of feedback from Ali Forsyth on how things are going. It's 11-4. Ireland are leading New Zealand. 11-4 Ireland are leading New Zealand. I think after 7 ends of the men's 4s final. Of course, 7 of 15 ends.
I must say, Brendan, to be, I'm not making any excuses, but it would be extremely hard for Andrew Kelly and Crystal Eve coming off after the high of that final, playing on this very, very fast green out here in front of us, and then to time for a lemonade in between and back out onto this other green, the fast, slower green, change of playing combinations, and it's difficult.
Yeah, and it must be difficult to get up for a 56th playoff as well, just to start
Absolutely.
with. Of course, Andrew Kelly isn't playing because he played in the singles earlier, but Crystal Eve, of course, from that champion triples side from earlier this afternoon, back in action with the fours alongside Jamie Hill, Sheldon Bagri-Howley in for his Blackjacks debut, and Gary Lawson, the skip. And they've got work to do if they're to end on a high.
I can tell you Crystal Eve was pretty delighted of winning that triples match.
Oh, what a way to start your career. A gold medal.
And New Zealand with the shot here, but trailing 6-3.
So you favour the short bowl over the one just past
the Alan Ryan bowl is the shot. The Australian bowl. Sorry, yes, it is the bowl that sits directly in behind the jack. That's definitely the shot. So Karen Murphy in her last international match for Australia, 650 plus matches. Career that spans a long, long, long time, and amongst that there has been World Championships, Commonwealth Games Championships, there's been Asia Pacific, there's been all sorts of
Trans-Tasman success, multi-nation success. He's done it all in the game of bowls, that's for sure. Made her debut back in 1997.
As we watch here, this bowl from Joe Edwards is going to sit on the Alan Ryan bowl. It just sat and fell back.
Yeah, great effort that from Joe Edwards. Not far away from making sure the shot still would favour the Alan Ryan bowl. They look pretty level, those two bowls, Ryan and Edwards's.
So as we watch Karen Murphy bowl, she gets a touch on that. But the issue that New Zealand have got here, as you can see, looking there, Brenton, is there's 2 down as the call from Taylor Bruce. There's only one New Zealand bowl nestled in amongst 4 Australian bowls, and it's Taylor. We could see Karen Murphy try and turn that bowl out, but I'm confident that we'll see Joe Edwards. She'll get another bowl. Joe Edwards will get another bowl in there on the head as it breaks down towards the head now.
Shakes
and
her
does
head.
Just that for shot.
I don't know why she was shaking her head because we watched her down the other end and she was saying, "Oh no."
Still 1-1. Still 1 to Australia. Looking here on that monitor, but it certainly takes away any chance of Australia being able to dominate the head with a good scoring number.
Yeah, so those bowls all to the left there, pretty much jack level, and so because it's a short end, the camera angle really deceiving. We saw from the other angle that that black bowl, which is just behind the jack, is actually quite significantly behind the jack.
So in comes now the Alan Ryan bowl, breaking down towards the head. And the Karen Murphy bowl, nestled in amongst the Alan Ryan bowls.
2 down, Taylor Bruce indicates.
Well, I was sure that bowl of Joe Edwards is, well, I suppose.
Yeah, but I think we saw from the other angle, didn't we, that these bowls, which look right behind the jack, look at this.
There you can
they're
see
significantly behind the jack. So yeah, she's favouring 2 of the wing bowls as being the shots for Australia. Green, combination of Karen Murphy and Alan Ryan. So Joe Edwards has come down to have a look for herself, see what she can try and do. Wasn't far away with her last.
Well, the danger here of New Zealand play what I call sort of palmy weight. I think Joe Edwards, if she's going to attack, has to attack with weight to the yellow bowls. If not, just try and draw like she did with her second bowl inside the yellow bowls, and will go close to getting shots. She could play under the head with weight to try and dislodge those Australian bowls, but it's high risk, especially off target, and clips her own 2 bowls out of the head. So we'll see Jo Edwards try and draw on the forehand, endeavouring to match the yellow bowls, which are the counting bowls from what we looked at on the monitor, with Australia leading 6-3. And Taylor Bruce likes this bowl, and every reason to like it.
That should be the shot. Yeah, confirmed. As Taylor Bruce picks up the jack. Great final bowl that from Jo Edwards, just showing her class once again. That time bailing out her teammate with a lovely draw, kissing off those shot bowls of Australia green. Now, Jo Edwards says, Taylor, bring up the mat, please. After 8 of 18 ends now, Australia green 6, New Zealand 4. Quite a contest unfolding here, Kevin Hicklin.
It is, and I've also got out here, of course, the gold medal match in the men's 4, which is Australia, the 2 Australian teams going up against one another. And at the bronze medal, South Africa up against Malta. And also in the women's pairs, the bronze medal match is that between Australia and Malta over on the far rink here in front of us here at the Broadbeach Club. And New Zealand playing Ireland for 5th and 6th on the green in behind us here.
Yeah, I don't think the scoreboard's been updated in a while because it's still saying 11-4 after 6 ends. So I think they've got a bit of catch-up to do on the scoreboard there, but I'll bring you up to date when the scoreboard is updated behind us in that 5th, 6th playoff, New Zealand and Ireland.
So the Alan Ryan bowl is going to draw right to the jack. In fact, sits right on top of the jack. That'll be a very good bowl from the young Australian player. Taylor Bruce following that bowl up, as Brendan said, stands there with that determined look on her face, watching the bowl all the way to the finish. Alan Ryan again on the mat. We just wait to see this bowl finish of Alan Ryan's. Goes in behind the head. That temperature's dropped the last half an hour, Brendan, hasn't it?
Yeah, welcomed. Certainly by myself anyway. It's much more pleasant viewing conditions.
Yeah, it's cooled down.
And no doubt playing conditions as well, because it was scorching hot earlier. So
here's now Taylor Bruce. Definitely one down, trying to get second shot. Certainly is. It's a good bowl. So the Karen Murphy instructing Alan Ryan, change your hand, come down to the backhand. And you can still draw a counter down in there. And it's on its way. Karen Murphy, hands on knees, looking at this. Now as it breaks in towards the head, just going to run by. Had about a metre of weight on it.
Great to see the bronze medal winning New Zealand women's triple. Also watching this one closely, just tucked in behind the rink there. You got Selena Goddard sitting down alongside Val Smith. Caitlin Inch just standing up at the moment. And then you got the rink coach, Gail Melrose, as well. The rink coach for Jo Edwards in the women's singles, as well as the women's pairs.
Jo Edwards, one down on the head. And Jo Edwards will endeavour to play up on that backhand side to that toucher bowl of Alan Ryan's to move the jack certainly to New Zealand's favour. And just going to drop away under the head.
Yeah, successful rink coaching debut with the men's triples for Peter Ballas as well, filling in for Graham Rees, who's now gone on to do duties with the New Zealand development side. So Peter Ballas stepping in and winning a gold earlier today, obviously, with the New Zealand men's triple, beating Australia 16-12 in the final earlier today. So New Zealand, at this stage, have a gold, a silver, 2 bronze medals, trying to make it another gold finish in style if they can.
So here's now Joe Edwards, 1 down on the head, 6-4, trailing Karen Murphy as you watch the bowl break down towards the head. Looks to be and is on the wide side slightly to finish jack level. So now there's a great chance now for Joe Edwards to play with some weight and attack the head. And if the jack goes back, doesn't really matter because you've got a Taylor Bruce bowl back there. There's a great chance of getting up to that Alan Ryan bowl, depending on which this one goes at Karen Murphy's, and we'll see whether it might have cut that line off to that shot that we were talking about just then, Brendan. It's gone.
Yeah, now it may force a switch from Joe Edwards. She takes a bit longer on the mat. And discussion with Taylor Bruce, her lead, as to what she can play.
So we're playing the 9th, the halfway mark in this final. Because Joe Edwards has to come past that front bowl to get down to the jack.
And she has got the shot bowl, but hasn't been able to dislodge it. It was almost trapped in there alongside the jack. So fine effort again.
It certainly was a great
Joe
effort.
Edwards, just not quite going her way.
Rocked the bowl over, but didn't dislodge it out of the head. And if you look there now, Brendan, we spoke about it before, there is 4 New Zealand bowls sitting around the jack. But of course, played all of her 3 bowls has Joe Edwards. As we watch now, Karen Murphy finished the 9th end, the halfway mark coming to an end, and definitely 1-2 Australia at this point. So we watch the Murphy bowl break towards the head, and
Don't think it counted by judging by that. We apologise for a few issues that we have with our picture quality here in this women's pairs final.
just the one it was, 7-4 Australia, 7-4 Australia after 9 of 18 ends.
Yeah, halfway stage now of this women's pairs final. Australia getting a bit of a break on New Zealand now. Largest lead that either side have had.
Certainly is.
Contest.
It's a game of ones, really, and very tight as we predicted it would be. Brenton would see this encounter very tight on the draw. As we watch, the jack's been delivered, and Alan Ryan's bowl is just low of the jack by about 18 inches. And now Taylor Bruce, she'll follow that bowl down. Definitely 1 down and 7-4 down on the board. And Joe Edwards encouraging this bowl. Taylor Bruce is just going to go past by a metre. And we'll now have Alan Ryan again on her backhand. On this end 10. On its way, coming down towards it, the commentary position. And breaking down towards the head now. Is it going to come all the way back? Yes, it is. This is another good bowl from Alan Ryan. And he's going to sit right in behind the jack. Sits right in behind. Taylor Bruce as well now on her backhand. Definitely 2 down. Watch this bowl of Bruce's. Looks at far better bowl. This breaks towards the head. Is it going to fall inside it? No, it didn't. Just came outside the bowl, and will be Australia that are holding the shot. We watched now Ellen Ryan play her third bowl on the 10th end, and she's changed her hand now, coming to get to that other hand. So if there's any drag of the jack, protection there for Australia. And so Taylor Bruce now play down on her backhand. More than likely just one down. As we watch this bowler, Taylor Bruce's with a wee bit more weight. Is it going to get cleanly to the jack? Yes, it does. Superb bowl by the New Zealander. Rests on the shot bowl and gets the jack. So Taylor Bruce was more than likely two down. And dislodged that Ellen Ryan bowl. So we trust you're enjoying this coverage that we're bringing to you live from the Broadbeach Bowling Club on the Gold Coast of Australia. And tomorrow we'll bring you day one of the Trans-Tasman. And that will be from the Helensvale Club, also here on the Gold Coast. And on Tuesday we will be at Musgrove Hill, Windy Hill as they call it, and then back here on Wednesday for the third and last day of the Trans-Tasman. And of course we've also got the New Zealand development side playing, and the New Zealand over 60 side will also be playing. So you watch this bowler, Joe Edwards, break towards the jack. Is it going to get past the bowl?
It does. Will it be enough for second? I'm not sure. Well, she's signalling there, Taylor Bruce. Unfortunately, we couldn't see her signal just in front of her.
Here comes Ellen Ryan now.
Just sizing up the head there, trying to work out exactly what Karen Murphy can play. Not a lot of options.
Not very few options there. It's all virtually a straight line head. There's not bowls to run off, so it's all virtually straight line to the jack. And Murphy is playing with weight to get up to this.
Well, it's going to come under, and it's going to be well away. So it's a rare miss from Karen Murphy, and I think this will be picked up by Ellen Ryan. So it's going to be placed at the end of the rink.
It's a hard shot that Karen Murphy is endeavouring to play. So here comes the second bowl now of Joe Edwards. And if this goes close, I'm sure we'll may not see Karen Murphy be so attacking. Coming up to have a look at the Joe Edwards bowl, in fact, is short.
Yeah, well short. She was urging it on and it didn't come. So it's a wide wing bowl. It's not going to benefit either party. It's not like Karen Murphy can play off that wide bowl either.
Well, the chance for Murphy really is just to throw that swooping shot down under the head, but they're certainly not easy shots to play, that's for sure. You've got to judge everything dead right to get the right result. Let's see whether they're going to play with that weight again.
New Zealand selector Philip Skoglund Jr. watching on.
And as expected, we've seen Karen Murphy go back to the more reserved type draw to try and get to the head. And New Zealand definitely holding the shot at present.
Yeah, the question is, are they holding two? And could Joe Edwards make it three? Or is she just trying to draw a second in here now? That's the last bowl of this 10th end.
So we'll see in a moment what that count is. So Joe Edwards does the traditional walk out to the side on its way. Definitely holding the one. Taylor Bruce likes this one. Is it going to get all the way up to the head? No, it's not. It's not going to turn anything over.
Just one.
Just one, it
is
is.
The signal from Taylor Bruce, but to New Zealand. So 7-5. Australia Greens lead is cut. Now just 2. And still plenty of time remaining in this after 10 of the 18 ends in this women's pairs final at the Multi-Nations on the Gold Coast.
Well, it's a game of singles, really, isn't it? There's been a couple of twos, but really, yeah, it is a game of singles. And there's no one getting a break, really. 2 shots. There's nothing, really. We played 10 of 18 ends. 10 of 18 have gone.
Yeah, we've had, I think it's 8 ends played in the men's 4s, 5th v 6th. New Zealand and Ireland. And it's Ireland who are leading 13-5 after 8 of the 15 ends. So just over the halfway mark of that men's 4s, 5th v 6th. Certainly not as much on the line as there is in this contest. Women's pairs final. Getting down to the business end now when this will be decided. Taylor Bruce's first is not too far away. Now Ellen Ryan coming on the forehand side with her first in response, trying to track its way back towards that centre line. And it's going to be very close to the centre line, but good yard or 2 short. So not exactly what she was after. Taylor Bruce was a bit beyond the head. And now with her second, looking to make that correction, coming between those 2 bowls. Her first and the first of Ellen Ryan. It looks like she's just going to sit on her first. And I think we had a bit of a don't know indication from Karen Murphy, as to whether Ellen Ryan is holding the shot or not.
Saw Joe Edwards give a bit of a stamp, trying to get the bowler stop. Watch this bowl here. Ellen Ryan just looks as though gets past the front bowl, will be shot, and it does. Gets on it and sits alongside the jack.
Great bowl that from Ellen Ryan. A near touch-up from the Australian lead, putting the pressure back on this young lady. And Taylor Bruce.
So here's the third bolt of Taylor Bruce. Breaking down towards the head, has to get past the bowl of Ellen Ryan's and does, and gets the jack cleanly around the corner.
Wow, what a response.
That was a great bowl. She played 2 great third bowls of the last 2 ends, drawing the jack on both occasions. So Ellen Ryan now, 1 down on the head.
Yeah, certainly up to the task of this matchup against Ellen Ryan, 2 of the young guns, new generation of bowlers, up against very much the past and the present with Joe Edwards and Karen Murphy, who have been, for the best part of 2 decades, the 2 best female bowlers in the game.
Certainly have, and they've played well all around the world. They've performed, both of these players, whether it's been in the Northern Hemisphere or here in Malaysia, and a number of other countries where the international events are held. And also, of course, both of these players, world accomplished players on the carpet and the indoor surface as well. So both of these players are certainly, they have mastered all the greens around the world. And just from a New Zealand point of view, in February, the Birkenhead Women's Pairs Tournament, great bowl here from Joe Edwards and sits right on top of the jack. Karen Murphy will be conducting bowls clinics at the Birkenhead Bowling Club, which people can, I suppose, contact the Birkenhead Bowling Club and sign up to. And those attending, one of those lucky personnel will get to play with Karen Murphy in the Birkenhead Invitation Pairs Tournament. So good chance for someone to have the opportunity to play with one of the world's best. As we see Murphy now, definitely 2 down, leading 7-5, 7-5 as we play end 11 of 18, and trying to get inside to get second shot was Karen Murphy. Definitely 2 to New Zealand.
Yeah, it certainly is. Set up well by Taylor Bruce's third. Capitalised on by Joe Edwards. Their first. Now her second. Again, coming down this backhand side of the rink. Chasing after this one. Showing no ill effects from her quad injury from a few days ago.
And again, got that very good arc in the bowl, but just going to die on weight.
Yeah, coming up short and wide.
So indication from Alan Ryan to Karen Murphy to play with a bit of weight.
She teleported again.
Yeah. And, well, we don't know what the story is now. We'll check what the skips say. It's all been moved around. Looks like 1 to Australia from here, Brenton. The yellow bowl.
I would favour that as well. And I think Joe Edwards will just try and sit, if possible, on those 2 bowls, the black bowl and the yellow bowl, just in front of the jack, and then hopefully promote the black bowl back to jack and take the shot back for New Zealand.
Well, she gets 1 roll out of Joe Edwards. If we can get 1 roll on that backhand side out of the middle yellow bowl, it can certainly be advantageous to New Zealand. So here is now Joe Edwards on the mat on the backhand, trying to get down to this yellow Australian bowl. It's very close here. It's on the way. It's on the line. Got it clean. It's definitely the shot to New Zealand. No doubt about that.
Yeah, wonderfully executed. That was the other option if she couldn't sit on those 2 bowls. Just knock away the shot bowl of Australia green. That's exactly what she did. And again, she's executed to a very high standard this afternoon. We come to expect it of a player of her calibre, of course, Joe Edwards.
Well, the last 2 ends we've seen Joe Edwards and Taylor Bruce has played some. We got the 2 telling bowls here. Got that trail on the jack. Took the jack off the shot bowl. What we see, Murphy, will she try and reach up to the New Zealand bowl? She's chasing it. Is Karen Murphy. It's a hard shot, though, to get direct to the jack, but if anybody can play it, this girl can. And just going to...
Not far away there.
Not far away.
But not quite close enough, so it's another 1 to New Zealand after 11 of 18 ends now. This women's pairs final. And just 1 shot between the Trans-Tasman rivals. Australia green 7, New Zealand 6. And now just 7 ends to play. Who will be claiming this women's pairs gold? Will it be the New Zealand combination of Taylor Bruce and Joe Edwards? Or will it be Australia Greens, Alan Ryan and Karen Murphy?
So on the mat is Taylor Bruce, the school teacher from the Burnside Club in Christchurch. Of course, won a New Zealand Fours title, playing with Joe Edwards, Val Smith and Kirsten Edwards. They won the Fours in New Plymouth. And of course, that was the same year that Dean Elgar, who was here in the New Zealand development side, he won the New Zealand singles. Gary Lawson, I remember winning the New Zealand pairs. As we watch now, Alan Ryan breaking towards the head. Karen Murphy likes this bowl as it breaks towards the jack now. And is this going to be a fitting finale to the career of Karen Murphy? She desperately would certainly like to win this one to go out on a winning note after that 650 plus games for Australia. long and stellar career. Taylor Bruce just falling short. And I just question, Brendan, this is end 11 and we're in that mid stage of the game, and this is where New Zealand, especially the lead Taylor Bruce, has got to really make sure it gets that line and concentration to the head. Otherwise, Jo Edwards is going to be under pressure. She's 2 down here.
Yeah, to be fair to New Zealand, though, they've actually done it all right over this period from ends 7 to 12. So this is actually the last end of that period. They've closed the gap back up after Australia Green got out to a 3-shot advantage. But you're right, they have to keep the pressure on here.
Taylor Bruce trying to get to the jack and gets the jack again and moves it back.
Yeah, right on cue.
Third bowl again.
That's 2 ends in a row, or 3 ends in a row.
3 ends in a row now that Taylor Bruce has moved the jack with her third bowl, her last bowl. So we see now Ellen Ryan as we play in 12 of 18. Karen Murphy trying to encourage it to just break back towards that. Just going to go
fair
by.
Effort, but still not good enough to take the shot away from New Zealand. Low 5 from Bruce to Edwards, who says well done to a lead.
I see Taylor Bruce capped 54. 54th capped.
I think I love that she keeps the measure in her bun in the back of
yes,
back of her head.
Yes, how do they do that, Brendan? Do you know?
Well, I don't know if I've ever seen anyone else do that.
I certainly haven't.
It's great. I love when I first saw it, I thought, what's some kind of weird hair tie? But no, that's her measure that she manages to keep in a little bob at the back
Bob
there.
here from Edwards. Look at this, right on the jack. I'm pretty sure we'll see Murphy endeavouring to attack that, which she can do on either hand through that front line port there. I see Rex Johnson sitting there watching as well, the Malta coach. One of the greats of Australian bowls was Rex Johnson. Played hundreds of tests for Australia. Gold medalist at the Commonwealth Games. World Bowl champion was Rex Johnson. I was surprised that Karen Murphy just elected to try and draw there. I did think she would try and search up there with weight to try and get under to the shot bowl. Jo Edwards, that traditional walk off the mat. Played a superb bowl with the first one. And this looks pretty good as well, Brendan, as it breaks towards the head. Have a look at this from the master.
Yeah, round of applause from Taylor Bruce. He's on lead, back to her skip, and Jo Edwards. I suppose Murphy was thinking, I'll look to draw maybe with the first, and then I've got 2 bowls remaining. Might look to play with a bit of extra weight. So coming along this forehand side, and certainly trying to play with a bit more weight than just the simple draw. In fact, maybe not. Certainly looking under the head here, urging it on onto those front bowls. But, yeah, that's not what she was after there, Karen Murphy.
Certainly not. And this is a big opportunity for New Zealand here. And if I was Jo Edwards, I'd just be drawing exactly where she's played with her first 2 bowls, because it's very difficult for Karen Murphy to get to the jack. And this sheep attacks it through that gap. New Zealand don't want to go too defensive. You put the pressure on with numbers.
Yeah, there's certainly not much of a gap there to the jack. If you're able to find that, you've just got to take your hat off to the opposition. Absolutely. And say, well done. So, yeah, I'm with you. Just try and draw another one. Long discussion, though, here.
Very long discussion.
They know how important this is. This is New Zealand holding, we think, at least 2, possibly 3, maybe even 4.
It's certainly a good head for New Zealand. In my view, I'd be taking full advantage of it, because, as Brendan rightly said, that gap to the jack is not very big.
Yeah, this could be a pivotal win, this. Can New Zealand capitalise? Can Karen Murphy get Australia green out of a bit of trouble? First of the skips to play their final bowls is New Zealand's Joe Edwards. Just one shot in the overall score line, and with New Zealand holding a multiple here, this is crucial this end.
Certainly is. And again, on that same line is Joe Edwards with this third bowl. And it's going to sit across, untouch the jack. So I reckon that's made 4 of it, Brendan. And the only shot, there's only 2 shots that Karen Murphy has got to endeavour to drive under straight to the line, the yellow bowls, to try and get to that port. And I think that's really was looking at another shot down on the inside of the purple bowl, which was jack level, but very, very hard shot. And
could you maybe play off this black wide bowl here?
That's what I was thinking, that she could get off there. But whether it would pull enough with weight, but it looks more to me that Murphy's going to try and play down through that centre line.
Through this very thin channel. Can she find her way through or find a fortuitous touch off on the Australian bowls? I think she has done exactly that. I think that Australian bowl is rested right alongside the jack. So from possibly 4 up, and you see Joe Edwards in back plate throw up her measure and throw up her towel in absolute disbelief. From really dictating all end, Karen Murphy gets a slice of good fortune and picks up the shot, and it's now 8-6 after 12 of the 18 ends. And yeah, sometime you just got to say, luck just isn't going our way, and it certainly went the way of the Australian great, Karen Murphy.
Well, I suppose, Brendan, you could say that if you're up and you're playing with weight and there's a lot of bowls to run into, you've got a chance. And Karen Murphy was in the line area of that hole, that centre line, but because you never know what result you're going to get, and that was the ultimate fortuitous result for the bowl, just to roll in behind and sit between the New Zealand shot bowl and the jack. And, Joe Edwards rightly just threw the towel up, because nothing you can do about that. It's happened. And, of course, New Zealand had full command of that head. And you see now the opening bowl of Ellen Ryan's on end 13. And she's a good opening bowl. Has Ellen Ryan, the Australian lead, as we see Taylor Bruce just going past the head, just drifting past slightly.
And not a bad first bowl. Touch too much weight. If she can pull that back a yard, she'll be right on the money.
I see that the New Zealand 60s, over 60s women's team all sitting out here in front of us in their New Zealand attire. So another good bowl from Ellen Ryan, finishing virtually jack level. We watch the second bowl now of Taylor Bruce's breakdown towards the head. And it's on a good line as this bowler Bruce's is going to sit right behind the jack. It does. And that's the shot. Karen Murphy indicating that's 1 to New Zealand. Well played bowl there by Taylor Bruce. And Murphy now indicating to Ellen Ryan, play with a yard through the counting bowl of Taylor Bruce's. And it's on a pretty good line too. Is it going to get to the jack? It's breaking towards the head now. Gets lucky again and feathers off the bowl. Touches the jack. And I imagine that looks as though it would be 1 to Australia.
Yeah, it certainly does. And Taylor Bruce just saying, okay, I've got to try and beat that then. After playing a good bowl with her last, has to try and do it once more for New Zealand.
Well, if Taylor Bruce can get a bump onto the bowl, jack will spring out a bit, and there is a bowl, a New Zealand bowl, which is sitting just outside there. That's where the jack would have gone to with that weight to the New Zealand bowl.
And it's all Ireland in the 5th, 6th playoff in the men's fours. The Irish leading 16-5 after 10 of the 15 ends. And men's fours, 5th v 6th playoff. Obviously a difficult game to get up for. And Sheldon Bagri-Howley, tough game to make his Blackjacks debut in, of course, with Ellie Forsyth sitting it out after skipping New Zealand to the men's triples gold. He is taking a bit of a breather to rest his back before the Trans-Tasman, which starts the first test at Club Helensvale tomorrow. So great for Sheldon Bagri-Howley to make his debut. Obviously would have hoped the result would be going slightly different.
So now here we see Joe Edwards be trying to get that tap onto the bowl so as the jack could possibly spring out. And just going to, went through the gap between the two Australian bowls. It was only centimetres away from getting a result. So here's now Karen Murphy in her last international for Australia, trying to get to cover these New Zealand bowls. Just going to fall short. So Joe Edwards, great opportunity here. She can make that contact the bowl. Jack can come out to the triangle of the 3 New Zealand bowls. And there's 3 waiting there in the catching pen. So Edwards will be playing with weight, a yard of weight through the head, trying to get that result. And we'll wait to see. And it's going to die underneath the head. Not an easy shot to play, but it's the best scoring chance for New Zealand.
Yeah, still have one more bowl up her sleeve, does Joe Edwards. Karen Murphy now to play her last. Australia's great and 2-time defending world champion in the women's singles, retiring after this tournament with just the Australia v the rest of the world carnival to come next week.
So it goes over the head, does the Murphy bowl, and now Joe Edwards, can she play this big bowl to push the jack out to the side of the rink? One down, trying to get to this bowl to move the jack, and desperately unlucky. Got contact, but not with the bowl that she was actually looking for.
So one more to Australia. Australia green, 9-6. They now lead after 13 of the 12 of the 18 ends, in this women's pairs final. So again, getting that little 3-shot breather, 3-shot advantage over the New Zealand pair. There's Ellen Ryan. Again, after being on the mat, dictating that length. Australia green want to play. Now playing her first on the backhand side. Now Taylor Bruce. Her first and reply. And see Taylor Bruce ended up short. Quite deep jack in comparison to a few other ends. Both relatively close to the centre line.
And I've had a good look, Brendan. They are purple bowls, not mauve, purple.
You're happy with purple now?
I'm happy with purple now. Yeah, we'll go with purple.
Yeah, the interior decorator in you thought it was mauve earlier.
So, yeah, definitely purple bowls. Watch this bowl. Ellen Ryan's now. Break towards the jack. And as Brendan rightly pointed out, a different length they seem to be playing here. 9-6 now Australia. A little buffer with 13 ends gone of the 18. as New Zealand go for gold in this women's pairs, as we saw earlier in the middle round today. The New Zealand men's triple side, Krista Leave, Andrew Kelly and Ali Forsyth defeat Australia in a real closely fought bowl for bowl final. Certainly, to me, that was the game of the event, game of the tournament so far. It was certainly bowl for bowl, heads were changing, and to me, the standout player was that Andrew Kelly. I thought he really played the big bowls, and no disrespect to the leading of Krista Leave or the conversion shots of Ali Forsyth, but it was just the consistency that I think that Andrew Kelly showed, and the big bowls that he played when needed, and a really good win to New Zealand.
Yeah, now the New Zealand women's pair trying to make it 2 golds at these multi-nations. It's the last opportunity, the last round of this tournament, 7th and final day.
Now, it is fair to say, Brennan, a number of our New Zealand viewers may not be aware of the quality of this field of teams. They've got a really, really strong sides here. 2 Australian sides, Malta, Ireland, South Africa, Canada, Wales, the women. So it's certainly been a high calibre event, and for this, I imagine for the selectors for all the countries, it certainly gives them an eye-opener to where do we go and which players, have we got the right players. And I think more importantly from a New Zealand point of view, with the Trans-Tasman about to be played, with having some different players in this lineup, it's how they handle this 9 or 10 days of constant high-level, high-performance bowls. So very important for the New Zealand players. So Ellen Ryan holding the shot as we watch now. Joe Edwards definitely won to Australia. New Zealand, although it's only 3 the difference, this is the end 14, they'll certainly want to score very shortly, because start to run out of ends once you get down to about 16. Just harder to pull it back. And Joe Edwards is going to come up slightly short. Australia holding 1. New Zealand got 1 bowl, Jack level, and 2 in behind, 1.5 metres behind. So Karen Murphy playing her second bowl. Breaking down towards the head now, and just goes past, just tips the bowl of Taylor Bruce. Taylor Bruce indicating to Joe Edwards, only need 1 metre of weight. So here's Edwards now on her backhand, trying to get down in between her 2 bowls and get down to the shot bowl. Question though that weight. I just wonder, Brenda, whether that green started to slow down a wee bit. Sun's gone off it.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, certainly not as warm as it was even just an hour ago, but 2 hours ago in the middle or the business end of that men's triples finals where it was sweltering. And now certainly a lot more mild, and no doubt the green may have slowed down, perhaps a second.
Yeah, might have just got a second of slowness in it, because I was just looking at those 2 Joe Edwards bowls. Both times she had that same perfect line into where she was coming in towards the jack, but that last metre just sort of ran out of puff as the Karen Murphy bowl goes through. And 1 shot to Australia. And Joe Edwards will endeavour to beat her front bowls. If she beats her 2 front bowls by a couple of feet, she'll go close to the shot. It's on that good arc again. How far is it going to come back? It's got to come in between the port to get shot, and it won't.
There's one to Australia again, I believe. As Ellen Ryan again picks up the mat and the jack. And Australia green leads, so now it's a 4-shot advantage. 10-6 after 14 of the 18 ends.
So it's at the point now where really, Brenton, New Zealand would just be nice to get a couple of ends together to go into ends 17 and 18 virtually locked up. So can't see a big number coming, and we spoke about that right at the start. The likelihood of there being big numbers in this game was unlikely because of the calibre of these players, their ability to draw, and the green that enables them to draw close. So, and that's proved to be the case.
Yeah, New Zealand did have that one opportunity to pick up a 3 or a 4 on the 11th end. Karen Murphy got a bit of good fortune, well, a lot of good fortune really, to run off short bowls and slide towards the jack and grab the shot for Australia green, and really that will probably go down as the pivotal end of this game. This women's peers final.
In 12, that was the one where they were holding the 4 shots, as you rightly said, Brenton, and Karen Murphy got that fortuitous result and to get the shot out of it. And Karen Murphy skipping this side, Ellen Ryan leading and holding the shot, sitting right on the jack, near enough to right on the jack. So Taylor Bruce on her forehand, trying to get to the Ellen Ryan shot bowl. Just going to slip by. A good bowl too. Don't get me wrong, they're 2 very, very good bowls of Taylor Bruce's. Just that bowl of Ellen Ryan's though is just a few inches, or 6 to 9 inches off the jack.
Yeah, because of our few issues with that picture quality, just using our camera on the side of the rink, which obviously looks a lot better, but slightly different angle. As comes back to the centre line again from Ellen Ryan.
Karen Murphy indicating that it's 2 shots. Yeah, and Joe Edwards rightly saying, come on, just you've played 2 good bowls there, just draw. Just get past those 2 Australian yellow bowls. Taylor Bruce will go close to getting shot. It's on its way. Joe Edwards looking at this bowl of Taylor Bruce's. This is a great bowl here. I can tell you if it gets past the jack and gets a touch on it.
Look at that. Didn't quite get the touch, but did everything but. Very fine line to make it there past those Australian bowls and find the jack. And Taylor Bruce did well. There's been no let-off from her this afternoon. We saw in the semi-final yesterday against Wales, she made a great start. First 7-8 ends absolutely on the jack, but then went a bit off the boil.
Did.
Lacked a bit of consistency over the second half of that semi-final against Wales. In the end, it wasn't in any way important because New Zealand by that stage had control, and Joe Edwards was able to play a couple of shots to keep Wales at bay. But in this match, she's just been super consistent against Ellen Ryan, who took out the women's singles gold here at these multi-nations in quite emphatic fashion in the end over Canada. Certainly, Taylor Bruce has been up for the fight, and in many ways has got the better of Ellen Ryan.
She has in a number of the ends, and this is a very, very crucial end. This to New Zealand to score us, even though they just score the single here, 3 behind, 3 to go. It certainly puts them, wasn't looking good. So Joe Edwards having to change from where she's been normally playing on this head and going to just go by. In fact, got a feather on the jack. But did the jack not move, Brenton?
Well, it's hard to tell.
So I saw Taylor Bruce down and give it some chalk. Yeah, there's the chalk on the bowl there. You can see, so it must have just brushed it and stayed locked in there. So we'll see. Karen Murphy, she certainly will play with reaching weight to get to that New Zealand bowl. Looks to be on the narrow side, and it does. Just sails away under the head. So Joe Edwards now got one. Was Taylor Bruce indicated? Got one.
Yeah, is one enough for Joe Edwards? Does she want more? Given that they're 4 down. After this, just 3 ends to play.
If she could move the jack about 3 inches, she could make 3 shots of it. That's, a very, very difficult assignment. But I'd say that opportunity does look to be laying there as all of Edwards just goes by.
She'll come down just to have a look at this, see what Karen Murphy can do with her final bowl of this 14th end before she plays her last.
Well, Karen Murphy can't afford to actually attack this, because if it was to attack it on the split, and she could in fact peel her 2 bowls right out of the head, which would leave New Zealand lying with at least 3 and a bowl to come. But she's certainly looking, going to their coach on the side and saying, what do you reckon we do here? What do we play? Alan Ryan standing, looking at the head.
Yeah, a long look, and then talking to Karen Murphy, and coach also just moved out of just to the corner there, the picture just below the ladies' sign on the abandoned toilets, just outside the rink here, Broadbeach. Now with his foot on the scoreboard.
Gary Willis, very prominent New South Wales player over the years, and now part of the Australian coaching team. And I'd be surprised if Karen Murphy really tries to attack this. And no, she's not. I don't think she would. Too dangerous on that split of the bowls. They could go anywhere. So Murphy, 1 down.
So she's played her final card as Karen Murphy on that 14th, 15th end. Now Joe Edwards makes the long, lonely walk back to the mat.
Done that 600 and how many how many games?
628th game. So add that up over all the ends. Kevin, what's the answer?
A lot. Well, you could also, and I know this question's been posed at a World Championship, every playing singles, of course, she lifts up her bowls, 4 bowls each time, right? So if you work out the weight of the bowls that you carry over a World Championship, and someone actually did, is that 2?
I think just 1 indicated there by Taylor Bruce, but we'll await confirmation. Taylor Bruce or Alan Ryan will make her way. Be Alan Ryan going to the scoreboard, flips over the end, and it's just the 1. So 10-7 now after 15 of the 18 ends in this women's pairs final. Australia green still leading. They'll lead cut to 3. And Taylor Bruce and Joe Edwards are hanging tough with Alan Ryan and Karen Murphy, that's for sure.
But it's fair to say, Brendan, this event goes for 10 days, and people that say that to play bowls at this level, you don't have to be fit. Well, you do have to be fit, because the long days out in the sun, and the concentration is intense right throughout, and it's amazing the number of players who go for a massage. I get Barry Lester today he was getting the old the leg rub, because you do go up and down the green a lot. You just and the mind concentration and hydration and in this heat.
Well, 7-8 hours a day playing bowls, so yeah, these days can be very long. Just 2 matches for Joe Edwards and Taylor Bruce today, which will be some relief from the 3 they had on 4 of the other days of these multi-nations.
So 10-7 now, Australia, as we come to N16. And it's finished the men's 4s v Ireland, and Taylor Bruce will draw the shot here and sit just alongside the jack, trailing 10-7. Also here today we see long-time New Zealand journalist, well-known sports reporter Terry Matterford, who of course New Zealand Herald and a number of other journalistic books, all sorts of things. Terry Matterford has written on football, athletics, bowls, all sorts of things, and now living on the Gold Coast. And good to see Terry Matterford here today. Great supporter of bowls, he always was when he was reporting in New Zealand. So 1, 2, the Taylor Bruce bowl is jack level. They're both jack level. So Ellen Ryan with her last bowl on this, the 16th end. Ellen Ryan now has played 1 short, 1 heavy, as this bowl now breaks down towards the head. Just going to get to the centre line. Now, we haven't seen Ellen Ryan play 3 bowls. I'm not going to say they're loose, but we haven't seen Ellen Ryan play 3 bowls. I'd call them like inconsistent.
Yeah, well, almost the same with Taylor Bruce. Haven't seen her play those 2 wide ones, really.
No.
She's been pretty consistent with at least 2 out of 3 of hers, and she's certainly got the best of the first 6, but yeah, not the usual high standard we've seen through the opening 15 ends of this women's pairs final between the 2 leads, Taylor Bruce for New Zealand, Ellen Ryan for Australia Green.
So Joe Edwards trying to draw another one here. Every endeavour to draw another one to put the pressure truly on Karen Murphy, with New Zealand leading 10-7. New Zealand holding the shot, trying to make 2 of it as Joe, and she will. That's 2 to New Zealand. Drew in behind the jack, just exact spot to where she needed to be. And we'll now see Karen Murphy, she'll be trying to reach that shot bowl or shot bowls. Breaking down towards the head here, just obscured a bit by Ellen Ryan. Got rid of one of the bowls. Still be 1 to New Zealand. Now New Zealand must finish on. Got to finish in amongst those Australian bowls. And Joe Edwards can do that by playing that hand that Taylor Bruce is talking about, or playing the other hand and sitting on top of the yellow bowl, giving New Zealand bowls on both sides of the head. So here is Joe Edwards now making sure to get another New Zealand bowl handy, because I'm sure Karen Murphy will be looking to get to the New Zealand bowl. So Taylor Bruce clapping this bowl line of Joe Edwards, going through the back of the head. Every opportunity here, big opportunity for Murphy. She can get to that bowl, Brenton.
Yep, she can turn a number that could all but seal the win for Australia Green. We haven't seen big numbers in this women's pairs final. It's been tightly fought, just singles and a few doubles. A few 2s picked up as she does exactly that. Karen Murphy trails the jack.
Trails it for 3 shots.
Yeah, great bowl from the veteran, the outgoing Karen Murphy.
Well, to be honest, I don't know why Taylor Bruce is actually looking at that hand. The shot to play is down through here, trying to either get to those counting bowls, you can get a flick off them, but you play that hand, you can get reduction. You just play into one bowl target on that side of the head. This is the high percentage shot, is my view, is on the other hand.
Yeah, maybe surprised that Jo Edwards didn't come down and have a look for herself, but she's trusted her lead. And we'll try and do.
Playing with full weight to get to the bowl and got the bowl out, moved everything around.
For the shot, perhaps. Ellen Ryan's going to have a look. Yeah, one down, she's signalled. So, it worked out very well for Jo Edwards.
So, New Zealand Fours team, we just got defeated for their 5th and 6th spot out in front of us here. Disappointing end to their event.
Taylor Bruce called that shot correctly, you'd have to say in the end there, Kevin.
No, not really. No. No.
Well, it worked out well.
It did work out well. And this might work out well too.
Yeah, it certainly does. That's a great bowl by Karen Murphy. Draws the shot and extends Australia Green's advantage over New Zealand in this women's pairs final. Just 2 ends to play now. That's Australia Green 12, New Zealand 7.
Of course, better New Zealand have to score this end.
They do. If they don't, it'll be curtains for New Zealand. Of course, the most they can score is a 6. So if Australia Green pick up a couple, that will be the match. Otherwise, if they pick up 1 Australia Green, New Zealand would have to score the maximum on the 18th and final end just to force an extra end.
So we saw 2 bowls. Superb bowl from Jo Edwards. Well, the first superb bowl from Karen Murphy to trail the jack for 3. Then a big bowl played by Jo Edwards to turn 3 down to 1 up. And then, of course, the trail of the jack by Karen Murphy to make 2 of it. And to take Australia to a 12-7 lead as we play the 17th end. So, first bowl, Ellen Ryan's. It's about a metre behind the head. And remember, as Brenton said before, these 2 skips out here, 1,300 caps between them as Taylor Bruce draws a very good shot alongside the jack. And certainly the 2 Queen of the Greens, no doubt about that, Jo Edwards and Karen Murphy playing her last international in the Australian colours today at this international level. As Ellen Ryan just going to go past. And between them, Brenton, they've won everything, haven't they?
Yeah, exactly right. There's nothing they haven't claimed, and this has been a great final contest between these 2. Of course, Jo Edwards will be representing the rest of the world against Australia a week or so's time. Karen Murphy will be representing Australia in that, so maybe they will get to have one final tussle. These 2, as you say, queens of the greens.
I'm sure they will. I'll be going head-to-head in this Ryder Cup type format at the magnificent complex at Moama. As we watch Ellen Ryan play her 3rd bowl on this, the 17th end, trying to get to the jack and just going to slip by. New Zealand hold 1. So, Taylor Bruce on the forehand. Holding the shot. Will she make 2 of it? No, she won't. So, skips, they change over, and Murphy will no doubt be endeavouring to get a touch on the jack to the waiting Australian bowls.
Because you think realistically, Kevin, they not only need to win the end, they need to pick up at least 2.
Ideally, you're correct, Brendan, ideally 2, because
3 or 4 would be really ideal, of course.
Would be. Hard to get, as we said right from the outset. This was, although it nearly was the last end, a game of big numbers, but it's certainly...
Have we seen anything more than a 2 scored?
They've been a 2 on the very first end to New Zealand, a 2 on the 7th end to Australia, and a 2 to Australia again on the 16th end. And the rest have been singles. So, as we anticipated right from the start, it would be a tightly drawn contest. Both these skips can draw on a sixpence on their best. As we watched Karen Murphy just going to feather the Taylor Bruce bowl. Jo Edwards will go to her backhand, holding 1. And as you rightly said, Brendan, the way how the head's looking, there's not a big chance to pick up a big number. And Edwards just slipped through. She could have sat on, Jo Edwards could have sat on that bowl and possibly made 2 of it, but just snipped by. So now we'll have Karen Murphy trying to sit out, no doubt, the Taylor Bruce bowl, trying to get to a position where they don't have to play the last end. It's going to duck away. So Jo Edwards desperately trying to make 2 of this, Brendan, to, as you say, give them a chance or better chance going into the last end.
Yeah, penultimate bowl of this 17th end for Jo Edwards. Needs to try and make something happen. This is not a bad effort, but it's just going to come up short and under the line as well.
So here, can Murphy get to the Taylor Bruce bowl, turn it out of the head, get to the jack, to be what she's aiming for. Breaking down towards the head, looks to be under the head, and it is. So New Zealand holding 1, having a look at the head of how they can get more. It's ironic, if you have a look at the head, Brendan, the bowls are all matched. New Zealand, Australia, New Zealand, Australia, Australia, New Zealand, and 2 Australian bowls out here. So it's all very hard to get more than 2 shots.
Yeah, 2 is really the best they can hope for, unless maybe you can promote that short bowl, but I think it's too short to really get it to the jack. And you have to come out on that forehand side, which would be risky as well. So I favour the more conservative option. And that's what they're going to go with. Jo Edwards will play on this backhand side, just looking to draw a second for New Zealand and keep them in this final going into the 18th and final end. Will it come around? She's urging it on. I don't think it will. Oh, here it comes. It's coming towards the jack. Taylor Bruce is urging it on, and it's a touch-up, no less. What a bowl that is from Jo Edwards, as she picks up a couple for New Zealand on this, the penultimate end of 18 of the women's pairs final.
So New Zealand got a 2 on the first end and a 2 on the 17th end, and other than that, it's been singles all the way through. And this is now the last event. I know this for New Zealand anyway, the last event. So we trust our viewers in New Zealand that you've enjoyed this coverage over the last 2 days of this Māori Nations. Certainly been our pleasure to bring that to you.
Trans-Tasman to come the next 3 days, though, of course. So still plenty of top-level bowls for you. 9 matches over the next 3 days of the Trans-Tasman Test matches. Club Helensvale tomorrow. Then Musgrave Hill on Tuesday. And then, of course, on Wednesday back here at Broadbeach Bowls Club. So the situation, New Zealand need to pick up 3 to force an extra end. 4, of course, will win the match, and we haven't seen either Australia Green or New Zealand pick up more than 2 in this contest.
So Taylor Bruce first bowl runs towards the centre line, and indicated by Karen Murphy, just a couple of feet short. Ellen Ryan trying now certainly get as close as she can for her skip, playing her last game today for Australia. Last time in the official Australian colours. Encouraging this bowl on is Karen Murphy. Comes back to the centre line. A couple of feet in behind the jack to draw the shot.
Important that Taylor Bruce gets a couple close to give something for Joe Edwards to work with. It's a fair effort. It's just going to rest alongside.
Just had to fall in, fell out instead.
The Ellen Ryan bowl.
Perfectly weighted was the Taylor Bruce bowl on that backhand side of the green.
Ellen Ryan, I don't think she's a massive fan of this one, but she's watching it through. It's just going to come up short. She knew the weight wasn't quite right. It's going to run into that first bowl of Taylor Bruce.
So here we have Bruce now again, her last bowl on this, that 18th end, the Burnside player, the school teacher, breaks its way down towards the head. Joe Edwards coaxing it on. Is it going to get in there this time? Certainly a great attempt, and that's the shot. Sits right alongside the jack.
Yeah, great bowl, and she's been quite brilliant today, Taylor Bruce, in this women's pairs final, being very consistent off the front. Had a great tussle with Ellen Ryan, her opposite, who has now her final bowl of this 18th and final end. She's going to sit on a shot bowl and then just fall away.
Well, it's actually a good bowl of Ellen Ryan's, because before there was a chance of Joe Edwards playing straight to one of the bowls and moving their bowl out of the head. So it gives Australia another bowl on the head. Joe Edwards, she'll be trying to play to get to that yellow bowl, sits inside it, makes 2. And of course, she's still got 2 bowls after that, so it's important that this bowl is in a counting position. Gives them a chance to get to 3 and the extra end. So here is Joe Edwards. The New Zealand skip.
Well, he just had a big round of applause on the rink next door, because I think we just saw the last bowl from Nathan Rice. Lurch for Australia, who's also retiring, along with Karen Murphy. So a lovely round of applause from both teams, as well as the fans. Australia green, Australia yellow, playing alongside this women's pairs final.
So here is Karen Murphy playing her last bowl of her last end, playing for Australia after 650 plus test matches or internationals for Australia. And it's imperative now. Joe Edwards got to make this bowl count to get to 2 and then hopefully 3 to get to the extra end.
And one advantage will be, of course, for Australia Green and Karen Murphy, that she'll have the final bolt, she'll have the final say on this 18th end. This one looking on a pretty decent track. Urged on by Taylor Bruce. That's another great bowl for Joe Edwards. So she has a couple. 2/3 of the way there. Needs one more if we're to go to an extra end. Karen Murphy taking a bit of extra time over her penultimate bowl. She's going to have a bit of a chat with her coach as well, at the back of the rink.
I'm sure we'll just see Murphy endeavour to draw down on that backhand side. On its way. Looks to be under the head. Doesn't want to turn the New Zealand bowl over that other bowl there, New Zealand's, because that could make 3 of it. Jo Edwards, is she going to make 3? Big. See the big deep breath there as Edwards walks away to the mat.
Oh, the previous end, she was able to draw the shot to keep New Zealand alive, to give them a chance going into this final end. Now can she deliver the bowl that forces a potential extra end? Playing on the backhand side, looking to draw back to the jack. Hanging it out wide, now urging it on as Taylor Bruce. It's not going to have enough. And is that enough?
Yeah.
Oh,
are we saying that
that purple bit short could perhaps be 3? Otherwise, I think they'd shake hands here if it
you
was
would have
just
thought
2.
so?
So obviously a bit difficult with the camera angle to tell exactly the situation, but maybe favouring that short purple bowl for the 3rd shot.
And an extra end.
Yeah, so as it stands, we will be going to an extra end. That certainly seems to be the way they're playing it. So Karen Murphy, what could be last bowl of her career, her absolutely incredibly decorated career for Australia. To win it for Australia Green.
It's on its way. It's got a better line. No, it hasn't. It's going to run under the head. Looks as though we're going to an extra end, as it certainly tipped the bowl over as well.
Yes, we are. So what an end for New Zealand. Taylor Bruce and Jo Edwards earn themselves an extra end against Australia Green after regulation. 18 of 18 ends. It is 12 apiece. And we have a flip of the coin to decide who has the jack, who has the mats. I think New Zealand won the toss. They will decide what to do.
Great recovery by New Zealand, of course. They were down 12-7 as we went to end 17. A 1 and a 3, of course. Saw them now in that position to go to the extra end, scoring a 2 and a 3.
Oh, fitting into these matchups between Jo Edwards and Karen Murphy, aren't they? These Australia-New Zealand matchups, the final time. These two will meet as Nathan Rice is being carried off the green. And you're going to probably see him come into picture as well as Australian teammates cheering him on. Of Aaron Wilson and Aaron Sheriff carrying off Lurch. Nathan Rice, who announced his retirement before this tournament, and the final time see him in Australian colours. Nathan Rice, a very reliable player for Australia, and quite surprised in some ways that he's announced his retirement, but going out on a high. Australia yellow taking out the men's 4s final over Australia green.
It certainly was a surprise decision. I thought Nathan Rice would have formed part of that strong 5, as you would call it, that they will pick for the World Bowls, and put family reasons. He's decided to call time, and New Zealand playing the first bowl on the extra end here. Taylor Bruce and Jo Edwards up against Karen Murphy and Ellen Ryan, as a pretty good opener from the New Zealand lead, just in behind the jack, scoring 5 shots in the last 2 ends to force this extra end.
Yeah, pretty impressive start from Taylor Bruce as well, given what we've just seen on the rink next door. Wasn't distracted by that kept her focus on the task at hand as Ellen Ryan is first. It's just going to slide by first bowl of Taylor Bruce, but almost resting alongside it.
Come down to a one-end game. As his camera looks around the crowd. A good crowd still here at Broadbeach. As this second bowl now of Taylor Bruce. Joe Edwards is interested, is pretty keen on this bowl as it breaks down towards the head. Just goes by again. So Ellen Ryan now will play her second bowl on this extra end. And it's on its way. And Karen Murphy asking it to slow down, I think. Is it going to get to the jack? And it does, and sits inside for shot. Got a touch on the jack and rests on the two bowls of Taylor Bruce.
Still plenty of room, though, for Taylor Bruce to try and draw the shot, sit in front of that previous bowl from Ellen Ryan. She's done it time and time again. Has to do it one final time in this extra end.
Or will this be the gold medal career to finish with a gold medal for Karen Murphy? Because it could go either way here. Of course, with the extra end, Joe Edwards watching this bowl break towards the head, and well played by Taylor Bruce, that's for sure. Sits right in front of the jack for shot.
As we can see from that angle, just to the side, so Ellen Ryan can actually see the jack from the mat, but certainly the shot bowl from Taylor Bruce, and again forcing a reply from Ellen Ryan. What can she come up with? Playing on the backhand, playing a bit of weight towards the jack. She's going to come under the line and narrow. So unless the jack is moved, that's not going to be a counting bowl. And high five from Joe Edwards to Taylor Bruce, and rightly so. And a bit of encouragement as well from Taylor Bruce to Joe Edwards. As momentum is certainly all with New Zealand. 5 shots over the last 2 ends to force this extra end.
And full credit to Taylor Bruce, certainly not unfazed going to the extra end. She's in fact drawn the shot twice on this extra end. So well played by the New Zealand lead. So now here is Joe Edwards, 627 matches for New Zealand. And Karen Murphy about to play her first as well on the extra end as we watch this bowl of Joe Edwards just slip by. 650 plus games for Australia. Karen Murphy on the backhand, endeavouring to draw the shot. She's done so many times for Australia. Ellen Ryan trying to encourage it back to the head. Just a bowl wide more than likely.
Here we've got extra ends in some other games as well. Wales and Australia for third place. Australia yellow, that is, in the women's pairs. Australia winning that on an extra end as well. So both medal matches in the pairs for women going to extra ends.
So the only shot on for Karen Murphy is to draw the shot. It doesn't look as though that's what she's going to do. She's on the attack, is Karen Murphy, trying to get down to that shot bowl. It's on its way now. That's the shot bowl out clean.
Yeah, brilliant from Karen Murphy. And yeah, all the Australians who have just been involved in the men's fours final, applauding Karen Murphy, who's executed to perfection, putting the pressure back on Joe Edwards.
So here's Joe Edwards on the backhand, and that's the first drive of the game, I think, that one of Karen Murphy's of a full-blooded drive.
Apart from when she ran into all those front ones.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Of course.
She did. Sorry,
Turned
Brendan.
a 4 down into a 1 up.
On end 12. So here is now Joe Edwards going for gold on the backhand.
It's going to come under the head.
It's all over.
It's shake hands time and the embrace between Karen Murphy and Joe Edwards. And Karen Murphy, Australian great, goes out with a gold medal. Her last tussle with New Zealand, and it's Australia Green who have beaten New Zealand 13-12, and Ellen Ryan there showing her strength to lift up her teammate, and now they embrace, and all we can do is stand up and congratulate the champion player, Karen Murphy. So New Zealand, the pair of Taylor Bruce and Joe Edwards having to settle for the silver after a thrilling extra end to decide this contest, and what an enthralling matchup it was. But Kevin Hickland, this time, it goes the way of Karen Murphy.
Well, it certainly did, an extra end, and New Zealand control of the head, holding the shot, and then we saw Karen Murphy with her second bowl, the true champion that Karen Murphy is, as we pull down the curtains on this great career of this great Australian player. Although we're great Kiwi supporters, no one can take away from what Karen Murphy has achieved. Back-to-back world singles titles and other world titles throughout the years. 650 plus matches for Australia, and finishes her career in the international arena with a gold medal here for Australia, with an extra end victory over the New Zealand peers combination of Taylor Bruce and Joe Edwards. But certainly it was one of those games. Let's give New Zealand credit. They were down by 12-7 with 2 ends to go, and New Zealand scored a 2 and a 3 to get to an extra end. Held the win on the extra end. But the greatness of Karen Murphy, with her, she elected to drive with her second bowl and took the shot bowl, the Taylor Bruce bowl, took the bowl out clean, and what a way for that career to finish, Brenton.
Yes, certainly. If that's the last time we see these two, I expect it will be a New Zealand-Australia match-up, Karen Murphy and Joe Edwards. And while Joe Edwards has finished runner-up on this occasion, what a fitting finale to the matchups of the two queens of the green. And that's certainly the case, to absolute greats of the sport. And Joe Edwards for New Zealand, Karen Murphy for Australia. And this time it is Karen Murphy who gets the better of her long-time rival, Joe Edwards, and takes the title. We hopefully will be joined by Joe Edwards shortly. She'll join us in commentary to dissect that one. And I suppose the way the script was written, this time it was for the retiring Karen Murphy, who we won't see take on New Zealand again in a Trans-Tasman contest. Of course, she'll still play against Joe Edwards in the rest of the world v Australia Ryder Cup style matchup in a week or so. As we now have Joe Edwards, we'll move into position here, and Joe Edwards will take a seat. Thank you very much for Joe to join us and for her time, as she's given us her time throughout these multi-nations. Always great to have Joe's expertise throughout. And Joe, I suppose, what can you say after that? Extra end needed to decide another absolutely enthralling battle between yourself and Karen Murphy.
Yeah, I suppose it's a fitting end to Karen's international career with the Australians. Bitterly disappointed. You give yourself a chance to get a real good 3 on to get the extra end, and very disappointed with my last bowl. There's nothing for short.
Yeah, but you played some absolutely stunning bowls on the last 2 ends to get into that extra end situation, I suppose, was the way the script was written for
Yeah.
Karen on this occasion.
Don't know whether it makes it better or worse, really. You know, the turning point of the game, you held a hell of a 5. Gets a lucky work and
Was
gets
that a 5 you had on the 12th end?
the shot, you know,
Yeah.
not second or third. Gets the shot. And, you know, it's we didn't drop our heads. You know, we battled hard and tried our hardest, you know, tried to win the game. And, you know, she played the clutch shot the last end, I didn't. That's pretty much what it comes down to.
No, you will get one more opportunity to play her, I think, for New Zealand, the rest of the world against Australia, rather. You hope?
I don't know. I mean, the teams haven't been selected. I don't know who we're playing with, who we're playing against. So, looking forward to that.
But obviously looking back on these matchups with Karen Murphy, you know, the two best modern-day players, yourself and Karen, will you look back on them with fondness? This won't sting too much, I hope?
Oh, look, you know, it's a game of bowls. You know, it's you realise that after, a few things going wrong, and it is a game of bowls. And, we've had some amazing battles, so I was trying to work out how many approximate games we would have played against each other, and geez, we reckon it's well over 100. So, you know, God knows what the record is, but, she got the last one. So, you know, good way for her to go out. She's been a hell of a competitor for Australia. 660 games, you know, it's I know what that takes, and it's a hell of a dedication, hell of a, you put your life not on hold because you're doing what you love, but, geez, there's a lot of things that you have to sacrifice to be in this position, and, been fortunate myself to be in for as long as Karen, and, you do look back. The first time we met was 1997 in the academy team, and two, young bucks going head to head, and just, who'd have thought that it would have continued 600 games later. So it's been a hell of a ride, and I wish her all the best in what she chooses to do now.
And while you mentioned it before, Silver, obviously not what you wanted, and the stings at the moment. The combination you've struck up with Taylor Bruce, a lot to take out of the week.
Oh, look, we lost one game in the tournament on an extra end, so unfortunately it was the big one. But no, Taylor's a young bowler, and she's got a long career if she chooses. It is hard trying to build combinations very, very quickly, and you haven't got a lot of time to do it. We have a 2-day camp beforehand, and I went into singles first, she went into fours, so it is tough, but it is what it is, and you just try and do the best, with the situation that you've got. And, I look forward to playing with Taylor over the next 3 days in the Trans-Tasman, and, hopefully we can get a couple of Aussie scalps.
Yeah, I suppose there's no opportunity to dwell on this, is it? Straight into the Trans-Tasman tomorrow at Club Helensvale.
Yeah, look, it's been a big week. I feel like I've been playing for about 2 weeks. It's, the speed of the greens has been challenging, from one game to another, and, you go home at night and you're mentally exhausted. So, another 3 big days, got 3 games each day, and, try and get some scalps along the way.
All right, we look forward to that, and thank you very much again, Joe, for joining us. Hard luck on the result, but you gave us one hell of a game to watch and call, that's for sure. Joe Edwards there, a skip of the New Zealand women's pair, which is cruelly in many ways had to settle for silver, going down 13-12 to Australia green over the closing stages of this, going to an extra end to decide it, as Kevin Hicklin rejoins me in commentary just to close on the multi-nations here. New Zealand's finished with a gold, 2 silvers, 2 bronze, and what a couple of thrilling contests we've been treated to, haven't we, Kevin Hicklin? Firstly, of course, in that men's triples, New Zealand getting the gold on that occasion, and this time an extra end needed to separate 2 legends of the sport.
Yeah, one has to feel exceptionally sorry for Joe Edwards and Taylor Bruce, because they fought their way back, scoring 5 shots in the last 2 ends to get to that extra end, and then they controlled the extra end not to be. We saw that magnificent drive from Karen Murphy, so then you could say what a fitting way for such a great career to come to an end. She's done everything in the game, has Karen Murphy. And also, for those who don't know, off the green as well, been on the board of World Bowls and a great ambassador for the game. So, yeah, it's sad to lose, but then it was a fitting way to finish. The men's triples, well, look, I take my hat off to the team of Ali Forsyth and Chris Lalive and Andrew Kelly to go through unbeaten was a sterling effort. And so if you were to look at the whole scenario for New Zealand, more than likely, is it a pass mark? Yes, it is a pass mark, of course, when you win a gold medal and get 2 silvers in this calibre of competition. But I'm sure that the New Zealand selectors would have hoped for a wee bit more with our fours in both the men and the ladies, I'm sure, and that's something they're going to have to work on as we build. Of course, we've got the Trans-Tasman starting tomorrow and building into that important part of the season with another Trans-Tasman in February, and then, of course, the World Championship. So, yeah, definitely a pass mark and good confidence booster for the men going into the Trans-Tasman tomorrow. And all in all, a fantastic event. It's been great to see so many of these countries here, and I think the standard of the bowls from these nations, Brendan, has been absolutely outstanding, and I've certainly enjoyed doing this commentary for the last couple of days, and moving forward to Trans-Tasman tomorrow, when I'm sure we'll be treated to a high quality of games right throughout the 3 days of that fierce competition that we always have between New Zealand and Australia.
Well, if it's anything like the 2 Trans-Tasman contests we have brought you this afternoon, we're in for some thrilling bowls over the next 3 days. A big thank you to Kevin Hicklin for all his help in commentary. I'm Brenton Vinasseroy as we sign off here from the Broadbeach Bowls Club on the Gold Coast. Join us tomorrow for 3 rounds of action from the Trans-Tasman Test number 1 from Club Helensvale.